In this video, we're going to look at word frequency searches. In the Explore menu, click on Word Frequency. I'm just going to run query first of all. So what we have here are a list of all the words that are in all the documents and everything uploaded under files. So the most used word is beach. Now you may ask what this means. And really, it just means that the most used word is beach. Now, it may be that we don't want to look across every document and pull those results. Perhaps we just want to look at interviews. So I'm going to run that query again, just on interviews. Now, we've got quite a lot of small words such as lot and see and get. I quite often just change that to 5 to avoid very short words. So I can do that if I want to do so. And people's now become the most popular word, most used word across the interviews. I'm clicking along the side menu, the right-hand side menu, and we've produced a word cloud. Often word clouds are used on front pages of documents, for instance, or as a very quick, rough and ready way of seeing what is that topic about, what was discussed in the interviews. And used in that way, it makes sense. We could also just make a different word tree for each interviewee, and that might help us to see whether some interviewees are speaking in very different ways with different words, different opinions. It depends what project we're working on and whether that would matter. But it's a nice way of summarising the content. But do be careful of drawing any strong conclusions. That would be my warning, really. But they could make good pictures. Now we can also just go down the side. So let's go down, say, to Synonyms, and we'll run the query again. Okay, so it's slightly changed. We've got place, think, people, change. But people's still the most popular. And if I go all the way down here, let's see what happens. Making it think. So here we've got place in place of all these words and united in place of all these words. So you need to look carefully to make sure that makes sense. Now, does it make sense in relation to your data or not. So we've gone all the way down to generalizations. So just be careful as we use this. I say if we were to go to stem words, so we can see clearly change is picking up change, change, changes and changing. Island, island and islanders. So we have to be careful to make sure that we're not overgeneralizing on our particular data. And again, we can click on the word cloud. Word clouds look great. Just be careful that you're not overclaiming on their meaning. And if we want to export them, right click again, and we can export to word cloud. But we also have a number of other options. We can look at the words here, and by right clicking, we could, if we wanted, to make a code of all the use of the words Henry, create Henry as code. Okay, let's go to fishing. Okay, create fishing as code. So that would make a node. And that can be a good way of looking at the data and looking at the size of the words so we know what words might be particularly important when we're playing with the data in earlier stages. Now, it's also useful to think about the stop word list. We can add words to the stop word list. So something that we may not be so interested in, looking here, especially if they're small words such as and, etc. We'll pick that up from the 5-word option. But if there's a word we don't want to include, we can just add it to the stop list. If we wanted to add fishing to the stop list, we just click on add it to the stop list. Of course, we wouldn't want to do that with fishing because it's a very important term in this project. But if we didn't want to risk missing out important 4-letter words, we might have stuck with 3-letter words here. Let's run that query again. Okay, and we've got put. Maybe we will just look at the chart and we can add some words to the stop list. Now, if I run that query again, put has gone and it's not moved anywhere else. It's nowhere else here in the diagram. It's on a stop list, so it's just not counted. But be careful when you use the stop list because you have to remember to unstop the words if you are likely to need to use them within analysis later. Okay, so it's not just a stop list for word clouds, that's a stop list for the project. And again, we can run query and we can also add it to the project. So I'm going to add this word frequency for, what did we do, for interviews with different words. I'm going to search, I'm going to queries. We should have that in our list now. There it is, interviews with STEM words and put in stop list. So this then ends the video on basic searches and using word frequency searches. End of video.